Worldshakers, I'm so excited you're here with me today. Man, do I have a message for you. Do you remember who we talked about last week and the week before that and the week before that? It was that crazy guy. Well, he was kind of crazy, but he was more scary than anything. He was just overpowerful. His name was Pharaoh. You guys, remember how worried the Israelites were that Pharaoh was never going to release them? And remember, there was this God that kept telling Moses, remind my people that I'm going to set them free. Well, God, as we've learned before, is the one and only person that we can always trust that his promises will come true. So he promised them that he was going to set them free. Today you're going to find out how he did that. Buckle up, it's about to get good.
Let's do a quick recap. Last week, scary Pharaoh didn't know what to do. He thought he was God, but he realized really fast that he was no match for God. And Moses was a little scared because God had told him, you're going to be the one to lead my chosen people. He said, I don't know how to speak to Pharaoh, so I need help, God. So he relied on God by telling him every excuse he can imagine not to be obedient. God, he was much more clever than Moses, realized that I better help Moses. So what he did was he told Moses, I'm going to give you your brother Aaron. And Aaron, since he's such a great speaker, will give you courage so that you can do what I've called you to do. And so Aaron and Moses joined forces. When they joined forces, they were able to pack a powerful punch for the Pharaoh, something that the Pharaoh couldn't dodge. He couldn't even handle it. He said, you know what? I am tired of these Hebrew slaves. I mean, yes, they build everything I need them to build, and they do it for free. You know what? I don't have to pay them. I don't have to do anything. I could treat them horribly, and yet they do all my work for me. So he needed the Hebrew slaves. But then he realized, wait a minute. If I have them as slaves, what's in it for me? Now that God said he's going to, give me plagues? Plagues? Remember that word? Plagues. Plagues is something that has to do with famine. Something that has to do with really bad things that's going to happen to you. And Pharaoh was no match for that. So Pharaoh said, after 10 plagues, I give up. Leave. Get out of Egypt. Go. So now Moses didn't have to say, let my people go anymore. Pharaoh said, the quicker you can get out of my palace, the quicker we can all get back to regular life as usual. So now prepare for another episode where we're going to talk about Moses leading the people out of Egypt, and it's called the Exodus. But first, we're going to learn about the Passover, which is the first Passover. It's a holiday. Imagine when you're not in school because it's President's Day, or like this weekend, Memorial Day. If we were in school as normal, we wouldn't have to go to school on Monday. In the same way, the Passover is a feast. It's a celebration for everything that God is going to do and everything that God has done by freeing the Hebrew slaves from the hand of scary Pharaoh. Sit tight. You're going to enjoy this.
Did you hear that?
Moses, Aaron, this is King Pharaoh. I want you out. Get out of my palace. Get out of my country, Egypt. Get out of my life. Take your people and go.
You guys remember I said Pharaoh was scary? That's Pharaoh. Pharaoh was knocking at the door to get in touch with Aaron and Moses to tell them, take all of your Israelite people and go. Just be gone. Go worship your God. You're free to go. So Aaron, Moses, and all the Israelites, they went on their way. And they came across something that we still celebrate today. It's like a holiday. This weekend is Memorial Day, and at this time they were celebrating something called Passover. This was their holiday. It was a form of celebration, something that they could just thank God for rescuing them from Pharaoh's rule. They were trying to celebrate and just show their appreciation that they were finally free. So how did they celebrate? Well, God asked them to take one of the best animals they had, a sheep in particular, but it had to be the highest quality. It had to be good looking and clean and pure and white. And God wanted them to slaughter it. He said, I want you to kill it, because back then they killed animals for their food. So he wanted them to slaughter and take some of the blood from the animal and put it across their door. And that signified that God could pass over their door. That meant they were safe, because if there were Egyptians inside the door, God was most likely going to kill them because they made him mad. So by having the blood on the top of their door, they were passed over by God. They were safe. So they celebrated. That was their holiday. Okay, from Passover, you guys, do you think that Pharaoh was really done with the Israelites? You guys, he still wouldn't let up. I know, I thought he would be done by now. He said they could go, but they still weren't free. So what did Pharaoh do? He sent his army of thousands of Egyptians after the Israelites. Man, I thought they were finally going to be free. They were going to be stress-free. They weren't going to have to worry about being chased. But no, Pharaoh was relentless. He would not give in. So all the Egyptians came after the Israelites. They surrounded, they went on a longer path. God led them down this path that it took them longer to reach the Israelites. They kind of got lost a little bit. When they found the Israelites, they surrounded them. So now the Israelites are freaking out again. They're like, oh my goodness, I thought we escaped. I'm scared. These people outnumbered us. But God did another miracle. Say it with me, miracle. Yes, because he still does miracles today. So God did a miracle. What did he do? He had Moses part the Red Sea. What does it mean to part? Well, think about the ocean. It's wide, it's vast, it's huge. There's no way that just in the middle of the ocean you can separate the water. But God did, because God has that type of power. He has that miracle power. So he parted the Red Sea. The Israelites went through. They were free again. And then all the Egyptians were washed away in the Red Sea. God closed the sea back up when the Egyptians went to it. Can you imagine the Israelites? God made a way that fast for them to be free from the Egyptians. Just when Pharaoh thought he had them, he couldn't get them. You guys, in the same way that God did miracles then, God still does miracles today. We're going to wrap this thing up, and we're going to find ways that even in the midst of being on lockdown, even in the midst of coronavirus, that we can still look for the ways that God is doing miracles today. He's doing good things still. He still keeps his promises. All right, stay with me. We're almost out of here. Okay, wasn't that a story? Guys, let's take it back to week 1. What happened that week? Moses' life was spared by God. Remember when all the baby boys were being killed, but Moses happened to be saved? His mother put him in that river in the basket, and he was able to hide? Exactly. Can you imagine if that never happened? We would have no story. There would be no Moses. There would be no Aaron and Moses speaking to Pharaoh on behalf of the Israelites. But God had a promise. He made a way, and he followed through time and time again. And that's what I want you guys to remember from all 4 weeks of Moses' story. Moses was brave. He listened to God. He kept showing up even when he was scared. And God was faithful to him. God kept his promises. God did miracle after miracle after miracle, and he had Moses back the whole way. So today, you guys, I want you to remember Moses' story. And when you feel scared, like even right now, that we don't know when school might be back in person, we don't know a lot of things right now with how the world might be. But God is faithful. In the same way he was faithful to Moses, he's faithful to every one of you. So this week, look for the good, look for the opportunities, okay? I know we're home. I know it's challenging. You want to go outside and do a lot of the things that we were able to do just a couple months ago. But look for the good this week. Look for new ways inside. There's stuff all around your house. I challenge you to become creative. Make something new. Take advantage of this opportunity. Last time I checked, when I see you guys on Sunday, a lot of you guys talk about how much you don't like going to school. Now you're home. What are you going to do with this time? Okay? I'm watching you. I will see you guys next week. Remember Moses this week. And I am so glad that we're able to be here online together. Remember, God always keeps his promises. Okay, little world shakers, keep changing the world one step at a time. We'll see you next week.
Hello, it's Tim Storey. I hope you enjoyed the service. If so, subscribe. If not, still subscribe. It's good.